People ask me all the time, if you really want to get lasting change, real results that stick around, what do you got to do? What are the most important things you've learned, Tony, in that area? And I tell people the most common thing people talk about is how they want to make a change in their life. But everybody wants a change, but nobody wants to work out. Everybody wants muscle, but nobody wants to train. See, one of the challenges that we have in our lives is we don't realize that the process of training ourselves, the process of conditioning ourselves actually feels incredible once you get that initial momentum, but most people don't. Why? Why do so many people say, I lost 100 pounds, the same 10 pounds 10 times, or they'll tell me, I'm on my 4th day without a cigarette, man, I'm doing really good. If you're counting the days, it's not lasting change. You're just counting the days you can tell people how long you lasted. If you want lasting change, you've got to give up this idea of trying something. You got to decide you're going to commit to mastery, but you also really need to get yourself involved in what I call immersion coaching. Immersion coaching is as old as humanity. How have we passed on mastery of anything? Finances, crafts, ideas, business, politics. Usually you went to live with somebody, you went to work for somebody, you became an apprentice. And maybe decades or years or decades of your life, you'd commit time to be around that person day and night so you could see and feel all the little distinctions that make them so masterful at what they do. Today, people have no patience. We all want it right now, and people don't only not commit to mastery, but they rarely even find a real mentor or coach. They think they have all the answers, they try a few things, if it doesn't work, they run to something else. If you want a great jump in the quality of your life, an extraordinary jump in the quality of your life, you got to set yourself up to win. You got to set yourself up with a process that allows you to consistently grow, consistently enjoy your life, and consistently produce the results that you're really after. And I don't care what area of life you want to change, coaching is one of the most valuable tools in the world.
Do you know a question that I'm asked everywhere I go? I've traveled all over the world. Is it important to have a mentor? Well, I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life.
Before I met Bob Proctor, I was running a thriving law practice, and I had what most people thought of as real success. But from time to time, I'd think about doing something different. And then one day, I found myself in a Bob Proctor seminar, and I decided right then and there, I wanted to do what this man was doing. I wanted to be in his inner circle, and I wanted to create a program with him to bring to the executives and the directors and the companies that I'd been working with for over the last 2 decades. This was a big change, and I am so grateful I had Bob Proctor to be my mentor as I went through this big transition. Bob says that having a mentor changed the course of his life. Well, having Bob as my mentor changed the course of my life. It's very easy to get into a routine in life, to do the same thing over and over. I have come to learn that every day can be an exciting adventure. But we have to make it that way, and to do that, we have to stretch. We have to set aside limitations and follow our dream. Now I am Bob Proctor's business partner and co-founder of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Like Bob, mentors have changed the course of my life, and they can change the course of your life too.
Let's take a look at what thinking into results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich, I was studying Earl Nightingale's material, but a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material, and they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. Now, don't get the idea that I think school isn't important. I think school is vitally important. I see study and school as being almost sacred. It's very important. But I couldn't figure out why I won, and so I started to study. I was very curious. It took me 9.5 years, and I got the dots to connect. That was after working with 3 or 4 phenomenal mentors. And when I got the dots to connect, all I wanted to do was teaching. And that's all I've been doing.
You want a mentor? Why don't you provide that mentor with so much upfront value that you guilt her or him into mentoring you?
Here's some tips on how to find a good mentor. Every one of us needs someone who's gone down the path before us. Look out there in the world and see people that are already doing what you want to do. Maybe they're ahead of you in life, they're a professional and they're doing what you want to do. Maybe they're your boss, maybe it's someone in another industry. But identify that person. And once you've identified them, call them or write them and say, you know, could I spend 10 minutes a week with you on the phone? Start with a small request. And what we've always found is that when you start with a small request, they'll let it expand if they enjoy spending time with you. But if you ask for an hour, it'll feel overwhelming to them. And just tell them you respect them, you admire them, and you'd like to learn from them. And if you do that, and you'll do the things that they tell you to do and report back to them, you know, you asked me to do this, and you told me to do that, and I did it, then they're gonna feel empowered that they're empowering you. And they're gonna wanna keep doing that because we love to help other people. So don't be afraid to ask, reach out to the people you want. And if you get a no, ask someone else. Never give up on your dream to have the perfect mentor. There are a lot of people out there that can help you. It's not just one person. So ask until you get what you want. And then also end by always thanking them. You can send them a little present, then introduce them to other people, maybe send them an article that would be interesting to them. Give value to them so that they'll be glad to give value back to you.
Well, I have no idea what finding a mentor was like 10 or 20 years ago. It's always been the same. How do you find a boyfriend or a girlfriend? As you fish where the fish are. You go where they are. The way you find a mentor is you look around yourself or look around your world and you say, who would be a good person to give me advice to help me at this stage of my career? And then you approach that person. And in approaching a mentor, you ask them for 10 minutes of their time to ask them 3 specific questions, which are in writing, and you give them a copy of it. No more than 10 minutes. Most people who are valuable as mentors are also extremely busy, and they do not have time for open-ended, rambling conversations. You know, I have people say, please be my mentor and tell me everything I need to be successful at life. And I hang up the phone, figuratively. I push delete on the email because I simply don't have the time. If a person writes me and says, could you answer this specific question, then I will almost always answer that specific question. So look around yourself and say, who would be a good person to be a mentor? And then remember, a mentor relationship has to have some benefit for the other person. So what are you going to bring to the party? Whatever the person offers you in terms of advice or guidance, do it and report back. But then ask, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? Even if it's merely moving boxes on moving day. What can you do to help your mentor? Remember, the rule in life is you have to give to get. And the more you give of yourself without expectation of return, the more that will come back to you in the most unexpected ways.
How do professional people or comedians or whatever you're in find mentorship in the specific field that you're in? I think what a lot of people don't realize is that people who are successful, really, they don't mind sharing the principles. The mistake that most people make when they go after people is they go after them for something. But if you go after a person for advice, most successful people don't have a problem sharing the principles of success. Most people that I know that are successful don't have a problem with teaching you how to fish. Now, if you're over there looking for a fish sandwich, you got a problem. And most people think and they tie their success based on, well, if I ever meet this guy, or if I ever meet this woman, or if I ever meet this particular person, they can help me get to the next level. What you really need is advice. And most people, if you email or reach out to them and said, hey, look, you know, or put yourself in the line of fire. You know, if you see them having coffee, walk up and introduce yourself and just say, hey, look, I've always been an admirer of yours. I'm young, I'm new, I'm really looking for a mentor. I'm looking for some advice, you know, maybe if there's something you could help me with, or just I'd love to be able to run some things by somebody who's more in the know-how than I am. You know, that's how it's done, you know. But you can't go to a successful person and ask them for money. You can't go and ask them for a loan, or your business idea needs funding. Yeah, that's the wrong way to approach people. You know how many times they get approached by people like that? But if you're seeking to learn how to fish, most successful people won't have a problem sharing with you the principles of success or how it's done. You know, I found that to be true.
You need to believe that what I'm telling you, I have some information that's solid so that you don't not trust that data. If you think I'm a shuckster, if you think I'm just trying to sell you a product, if you think I'm just trying to, you know, get at you, then you're going to be like, you're going to doubt the source of the content. So whoever you're reading, whoever you're studying, when you leave this, you pick up a book, check out who that book was written by. Check out that guy, check out that gal, check out their marriage, check out their finances, check them out. If they're not legit, you're going to have doubts about them. If you have doubts about them, you're not going to implement and execute on the information. Because I promise you, someone will challenge you. For instance, just tell somebody, hey, I just bought Grant Cardone's How to Become a Millionaire. Tell 5 of your friends, and I'll bet you 3 of them say, you don't think that's going to work, do you? See, at that point, you need to be able to reinforce the source. Yeah, dude, I do think it's going to work. Okay, let me tell you why. Because I did the research on this cat. Now, what you're talking to is about your surroundings now. They're challenging your mental. Remember, this is 2 parts mental, 1 part mechanical.
Everyone needs a coach. It doesn't matter whether you're a basketball player, a tennis player, a gymnast, or a bridge player. My bridge coach, Sharon Osberg, says there are more pictures of the back of her head than anyone else's in the world. Sorry, Sharon. Here you go. We all need people who will give us feedback. That's how we improve.